We're back. T.A. Mahoney, Tales from the Dark Side. Been out a couple weeks. I know we got caught up a little bit on some podcasts, and we're ready to put some more out. Been a great year of fishing. Great, just good times. Enjoyed every minute of it. Met a lot of good people. Caught a lot of fish. Went to Louisiana, and the fan turned off for me, and it was just an awesome time. So I've been out a little bit, but I'll get caught up and we'll get right back at it. I brought one in today. He's a buddy. I've known him. I was trying to think. I've probably known you, got to be pushing 30 years. You know, somewhere 28, something like that. Dalen Marquette. I appreciate you coming out.
Good to see you, buddy. Thank you for having me.
Dalen is an offspring of world famous Captain Dave Marquette, who we've had on the show, and he's been sponsored by T.A. Mahoney, whether we like it or not, for the last 30 years. And
one of the few that'll claim us.
Yeah, and I remember running around as a kid and having some good times with you, and you've grown up to be a great guy, I can tell you that. We can talk a little bit about the military. You went into the military. How long ago was that, 20 years?
Ooh,
18?
that was September 10th, 2001. That's when I signed my paperwork, joined the Marine Corps, and then traveled off in January of 2002 and went through my basic training and all the qualifications for my job school and things like that. And
Right.
then went off to Iraq in 2003 and played in the sandbox over there for a little bit. Came home.
Amazing. My hat's off to you for sure, fighting for our freedom. Such a young kid, I remember going over there, and you know, your dad, I remember talking about it all the time with him when he was in here, and I know he was happy that time
He's a
we
proud
met.
daddy.
Yeah, we went over there to Gandy, and you came back, and there was quite a few people greeting everybody coming back, and just an awesome event, and I was glad I was part of that, and part of your family. Your family's been a real big part of T.A. Mahoney Company. Your dad's done fish fries. You've worked for us, the alligator hunting back and forth. You were, when you got out, you pretty much at that point was going to be a guide, or was it before that you became a fishing guide?
It was well before that. You know, it was, honestly, well before I started guiding. I was helping folks and running boats with them and things like that. You know, back in the days when I was working for Jack Harper at Miller's Marina.
Right. That was before a little alligator incident there.
I don't know much about that.
Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah, but that was a long time ago, man. And I was blessed to be around a lot of influential people that chose to have me, you know, be a part of their operations and taught me a lot throughout the years, you know. And I owe a lot of that to, you know, my father and him choosing to involve me and in his way of life.
That's right.
And bringing me into, you know, sort of into the
fold.
fold.
And that's a tough one. Let me tell you, I fished with your dad 25 years ago.
He can be a cantankerous
25 years ago, you didn't want to mess up. I mean, that's a...
He softened a lot in his old age. So.
Oh, yeah. He's the, what do they call him? The new and improved Dave, I think he calls himself.
The gentler, kinder, gentler Daddy Dave.
That's it. And he's a staple in this community, and I love the whole Marquette family, having them here involved with T.A. Mahoney, and done a lot of stuff with you. And I remember it was a long time ago, so we can talk about this. And just remember,
hold on, we'd be on the statute of limitations here. I didn't sign nothing before I came in here, so.
There's a couple of disclosures. This is going way back past statute of limitation, and it's entertainment.
That's right.
So it may not be 100% true.
Did it really happen?
That's right. We were I was thinking the other day when I knew you were coming on, and just things we could talk about, and you know, some of the stories.
Better be careful where that list goes.
Yeah, well, I had to kind of filter some of it, but I remember it was one of the first times we went offshore. It was a full moon. I couldn't tell you how old you were. Mr. Hunter, a great guy that passed this year, him and your dad were good, and they did a lot of fishing together, and we went out on that Cabo.
Yeah.
And
first sport fish I ever ran as a captain.
Yep. And it was, that had to be 20-something years ago.
Oh, it was, yeah. It was long before I'd earned my stripes. There's no doubt about that.
You were pretty young, and you were kind of mating there, I think, for him, helping him out, and then also learning the boat and running the boat. And your dad and him were up top, and we were catching bait that morning. And I threw the bait net, and we got kind of a bonus fish at 4 in the morning, didn't we? It was
A racing mullet, I think. Wasn't it?
yeah, racing mullet, had a stripe down the side of it, and he was slot fish, and we were fishing, and I didn't have a rule book with me, and like I said, you can't believe everything I say, but I remember we got that fish out of the net, and you were ready to throw it over, and I kind of go, put it in the fish box. That's first fish of the
I don't know if
day.
that was exactly the words that you said. It might have been, "What are you doing?" or
Yeah.
something to that respect. And it was,
And I remember your dad hanging his head over the side, looking down, going, y'all throw that back. And I was like, yeah, we will.
He poked his head back real quick, though, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. So we put that in the fish box, and we went out 100 miles or something crazy. And I remember it was blowing. And that Cabo's a nice boat, 35 Cabo sport fish. And it took 4 to 6 footers real good. We went out there fishing. We were all on the back deck, and somebody caught the first fish to put in the box. We opened it up, and that snook was laying down there. And remember your dad going, "Where'd that come from?" I said, "Well, he was in the light, and we were getting bait, and I caught him on the fishing rod. He's a slot. I'm keeping him." And your dad just kind of looked at me and went on off, and we all ate snook that night. But that was a good time there. That was probably one of the first times we started fishing together. And then shortly after that, you kind of worked with your dad a little bit. Any good stories about your dad down in Boca Graham when you were making for him?
Oh yeah, man! I tell you, he's been a blessing in a lot of ways for me over the years. Get to experience, his way and methodologies and things, and how he does things, and it's nice to be able to be a part of something like that from a young age. That influence that it has on you, and the passion that it forms in you. To want to be like that, to want to be involved in something that you see, your mentors so passionate about.
Right.
And I think I absorbed a lot of it at a young age, but a lot of it, kind of, filtered right through me. I didn't appreciate it until I was much older.
Yeah, and you look back on it and understand it.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything had a reason, whether you
Right.
understood it at that time or not. And I think I was very fortunate to fish with and be a part of a lot of different operations and different people's, sort of philosophy as far as why they approach the things that they do the way they do.
Right.
And it helped me diversify my thoughts, and kind of apply that to how my old man did things, and you always want to be like them, but how can we do things together the same but different, because
Right.
you want to make your own path and you want to do your own things, but
The moral of it's all the same.
Exactly.
That's one thing about your family and your dad, and always wanting to help.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you're broke down, you're going to hear about it. I promise you're going to hear about it. But he's there.
He may potentially use it and leverage and in future relationships with you, but he's going to be there. He's going to drop whatever he's doing to come and help you, because that's the man that he is. And I don't care if you haven't talked to him in 5 years or 10 years or whatever it is. If he is there and you put in the call for him, he's going to do everything that he can possibly do to be there for you in any way possible. And if he can't, he's going to find somebody to help you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's no doubt. You may not even know him, but he's going to be there.
And your family's the same way. I mean, I can't tell you how many times you guys have been over backwards here in the shop and, out when we're fishing and, being around and being able to help and things like that and sending people and, so it's been a mutual relationship that that you kind of expect out of a lot of sportsmen.
Sure.
If you're out in an area or a situation and you're broke down, you would want somebody to come and help you or do something for you that you can't otherwise do yourself. And
Right.
and it's kind of the golden rule when you're in the outdoors. And I think that's something that's been or being lost on our future generation. They're losing the passion and the involvement for the outdoors. To electronic device stimulation. We suffice our kids and entertaining them with giving them an iPad or a phone and sticking them in a corner and saying,
'Cause it's easier sometimes,
easy,
right?
But think about the generation of sportsmen that we're losing out on.
I agree.
One of the first memories I have of the outdoors, with my father and doing things meaningful was planting seagrass in Tampa Bay.
Right.
And I don't know, 3 years old. out there in mud up to my chest, plugging these little seagrasses in out
Not
there.
even understanding.
Not even really understanding,
yeah.
but asking him, I said, "Daddy, why are we out here doing this?" And he said, "Baby, because I want your kids to be able to come out here and do this, and you need to know that it's important for us to be a part of these efforts, because if we want to preserve this, we've got to be the ones that do it,
Right.
and that responsibility relies on us now to transfer that to the next generation.
Right.
I mean, there's so many kids that are missing out on the opportunity to get involved in the outdoors. We're
Right.
losing those every day.
Yeah.
So my wife and I helped kind of found an organization that's working on helping getting those kids involved that wouldn't otherwise do that. But I wouldn't ever had a passion for that if it wouldn't have been for influential people like you and like my father and
Sure.
other people that have been so instrumental in wanting to expose us to that.
Right.
And we're blessed. We
Oh,
really
yeah.
are to have those kind of influences in our lives. I mean,
Well,
think
just-
about
yeah.
I mean, the influences that we've had, the positive role models that we've had to be able to share these experiences with us, to give us a passion for wanting to go out there 180 miles in the middle of the Gulf of Mexico and fish for one blue marlin, for 3 days in a
3
center
days,
console.
that's
I
right.
mean,
One
just-
shot.
Right. You got
Yeah.
one shot. You better make it work.
Sleep in a beanbag.
That's right.
Feel terrible, but it's all about that.
But get so pumped up for it,
Yeah.
that just you've got a passion for it, and it's not just that. It's taking these kids and being we're part of a some renourishment efforts in Tampa Bay, building oyster beds and stuff like that, to
Right.
help the estuary and making sure they understand that it's all tied together. It's our responsibility to help preserve and make sure these things are kept up, because we owe that to our kids.
Right.
I mean, that was blessed to us, and we
Sure.
need to pass that down to them.
Yeah, like you were saying, when you pass something on like that, like the influences of your dad and other people in your life that got you to where you're at today, to where you want to pass that on. I'm in the same situation, but it's not every kid. It's like my kids. I had twins, and I just provided opportunity.
That's right.
And I let them pick what they wanted. So at a young age, my kids necessarily weren't always on the boat. They didn't want that.
Of course.
Go to the boat once or twice a year, catch a big snook. I spoiled them, and it's done. I'd rather go play baseball. I'd rather,
course.
do something else. So providing that opportunity, really, like myself and my father, the way, the times I remember, you remember Tampa Bay at 3, I remember, 3 or 4 years old, 6 Mile Creek throwing a mullet net,
Right.
with moccasins watching us,
Yep.
the fish on the bank, and my dad just being so cool about it and getting rid of the, brushing the snake away, not, freaking out or nothing, but there's only so many of those people that are going to carry on that outdoor out of all the kids, and that's, you don't force it upon them, but it's something that's it's great. It's a blessing to have it.
Absolutely.
And I turn on people as much as I can. You know what I mean? Some of the, the people that haven't. That we were talking about Chris Rubio, a friend of ours. The guy took me turkey hunting. Well, he wanted to take me to kill that first turkey, and he wanted to call it in. He didn't want to call in the second turkey, or the third, or the fifth, or the eighth.
Right.
He was done. But he
wanted
knew
to
by
be a part of that experience.
that I would support conservation with wild turkeys if I had to hunt, got to hunt one. And my dad was probably, for sure my biggest influence into the industry. I was a little bit different. My dad went to the Keys. I don't think anybody really wanted to take me anywhere. Okay, I'll be honest
I was
with you.
probably in that same category. If you ask most of my
Yeah.
dad's friends and family growing up, I'd probably fit
Yeah.
that same category.
So my dad would want to go to the Keys, and my mom would say, "Yeah, you can go for that week, but you're taking
him.
you're taking the devil with you."
Oh,
And-
I've heard that so many
And
times.
I've run around the Keys at a young age and met some really good people down there that my dad knew for many, many years. Chartered them, and people that commuted back and forth. And that influence of being on the water is just what's done it for me, and want me to pass that on. My advantage here is I get to do this every day. I get to
You've
pass
got a
it on.
tremendous voice, man. You really do.
You talk to people, you want them to catch fish. A lot of times you'll have a guide, which that angle because you've been out there guiding before and in that rat race. you got spots you keep your mouth shut about, and you only tell your little crew there that reports back to you and helps you out, right? So me, I'm not that way, and I know where the fish are most of the time, or my network does, and you know, I know when the permit are on the wrecks out there. You know, they're in February, they're not March and April when everybody hears about it.
That's right.
You know, every
time you heard about it, it's too late.
That's
it's already
right.
done.
Something that's coming up now, you got September. You know, September, your days are shorter, right? The grouper, they're coming in Tampa Bay. The first time Vance Tice, master of trolling in Tampa Bay.
Ain't nobody better.
He writes an article. It comes out in October. People are doing it mid-October, November. He did it in September. They're coming in to spawn or whatever they do.
You better be careful. You're giving away some secrets here.
Well, and that's the advantage. I'm going to go catch them. I'm recreational.
Right.
You know, I want people to catch fish, and
Of course you do.
it's
Absolutely.
turning that on to the. You know, if I tell somebody, I'll go here, buy this rod, $200, buy a big chunk of squid and a pyramid weight, and go out there off Gandy and throw it in. They catch catfish. You'll never see them again.
Never.
They don't care. The rod goes in the corner. You put them on a snug, and they're done,
It's the experience.
hooked. You know.
It's the
catching big
experience and the
fish.
relationship that you create by giving that honest
That's
information.
right. Best
you know?
people I've met, yourself included. A lot of my friends, long term, have all walked through the front of that door, and that's what I'm kind of doing this about, just letting y'all hear some of the stories. Let me tell you something what he's done that is super impressive. Not only bust through the wall at Baghdad,
Oh boy.
jamming Metallica.
Here
I
we
love
go.
the story. We ain't got to talk about that one, but I love
That's
it
a good one.
when
That's
I
a
hear
good
it.
one.
He has gone from John's Pass to
Paso Grill.
Mexico, Paso to Mexico in a center console, right?
Yes, sir.
How
42
big?
yellowfin.
42 yellowfin, and this is recent. We're going 3 years,
3 years ago.
3 years ago, with a crew. We're going to talk about it on the next. We're going to take a break, and we're going to come right back. You know, some people run from here to Louisiana and think they did something.
That's a long run.
I
too.
did it. I did it 20 years ago. I did it in the center console, and I've been the king ever since. But when you came out with, hey, we're going to head to Mexico in the center console and fish for a month and then come back,
Sure you are, buddy.
pretty impressive. We'll talk about that when we come back. We're back. T.A. Mahoney, Tales from the Dark Side. Dalen Marquette, I appreciate you coming out, buddy.
Thank you for having me, bud.
When we took a break, we were talking about Mexico
Oh, man.
and leaving from here. Tell me about that. What would possess somebody? You know, 20 years ago, a guy named Captain Rusty West had a boat called the Hot Fish. 50-foot Phantom race boat, triple diesels, center console. And we fished this upcoming loop tournament, actually out of Longboat Key, and we went to Venice, Louisiana. Well, that was kind of like a big deal for a while.
It's a big trip.
But holy cow, 3 years ago, y'all come out of the box. Who was it? Who all went? Tell us about the trip.
Well, we took our 42 yellowfin from St. Pete to Key West, get some fuel, and straight to Isla Mujeres, Mexico, about 437 miles from Key West.
One shot.
One shot. 571 gallons in the hull and 200 on the deck.
What made you want to do that trip?
Sailfish.
That's what the goal was. Sailfish, the best around that time of year, or
You know, it wasn't just a sailfish. It's the opportunity to entertain in a different venue. You know, to have an adventure, man. It's for
Right.
the group of friends that does this together. You know, Tom Bradley is the boat owner. You know, and
Great guy.
and outstanding man, pillar of the community. And and he's got a passion for having adventures like that, and he chooses to have
I
me,
mean, that's
help
wild.
to orchestrate that stuff, and it's a little crazy, things can get a little, nautical on a center console in the middle of the Gulf of Mexico. So
How was that trip? Did you leave first thing in the morning? I'm sure
man,
you're
yeah.
watching weather, right?
Oh yeah. Weather is a big part of it, man. That's key in the whole operation, and much more so than it would be in a big sport fish,
Right.
or a bigger boat where you can kind of have some protection from the elements, so to speak. But weather plays a big role in it because that really helps us dictate our speed, and how much progress we can make, and for a trip like that, we're trying to do it in a day while it's daylight. So we leave Key West. We're leaving Key West 4 o'clock in the morning. Something like that.
Because you know that area pretty well, so
Yeah,
you can
and
roll out a couple
we've
hours.
got FLIR, and we've got very very sophisticated radar and things like that. So we're able to anticipate hazards and things
Sure.
running at night. So we don't have any problems with that. We run at night quite a bit.
Did you fish on the way over there?
Oh no, we're trying to cover ground, man. It's
I gotcha.
420.
Was it
some
a
odd
calm
miles.
day?
It was nice on the way over. Yeah, it was beautiful on the way over. We were able to average about 43 to 45 knots. So, we made good time. We made it in around 10 hours on the way over. So, way back was a little bit different story. Just like the last Louisiana trip, it was a little bit different version of the story on the way home. So,
Right.
But yeah, it was an incredible trip.
So,
man. It's a beautiful
so
place.
headed straight across, had beautiful weather.
Beautiful weather.
Got
went
over
right
there.
by Cuba. Went right by the north.
No problems there. Or?
No, I mean we had a couple of close calls where just had boats out of nowhere. Get close to Cuba and have boats out of nowhere come. At your general direction. We're running
Right.
at that speed. There's no reason to approach us. Really at that speed in a pursuit angle. So, we'll pour the cold to her a little bit. And they realize that there's no chance of
Yeah.
of keeping up. It kind of dissuades anybody that would have.
What
any kind
boat
of
was
motives.
it?
42 yellowfin.
42
yeah,
yellowfin.
quad,
Yep.
350 Baratos on it. So
Nice.
It was. It's a very comfortable boat, very
Yeah.
capable boat.
Built for that,
That's
really.
exactly right.
Take more than you will, I promise
Oh
you.
yeah, it takes more than you want to. There's no doubt about that.
So I went over there to like a hotel, marina, whatever, resort, and kind of got everything ready and just fished out of there for.
Yeah, so we had lined up a house, to stay in and entertain some folks, fly them in and provide the experience for them too, because that's an important part of the whole operation, sharing those experiences with people that are close to you.
Right.
So, flew in some very close friends and family, and after we got it dialed in, it took us a week or so to, local traditions, customs. You're not allowed to cast over there at schooling fish, with a spinning rod. You can't do
No.
that as an American. No, as a local, it's okay, but you can't come in there and do that as an American. And for us, we, you see a ball of bait with 15 sailfish
Who's
swimming
grabbing
around
the
it.
spinning
That's
rod?
exactly right. Come on, boys, it's time to go, boys.
Right.
Who's ready? So, for us, we like to expect the customs, the local customs and communities and stuff like that, because we're outsiders, we're foreigners,
Sure.
so our presence is really, a representation of what they see of America, when they hear about America and things like that. But when they finally see it, we're a reflection of our country,
Sure.
of our heritage, of our fathers, of our grandfathers, of everybody who's taught us to be respectful, of
Right.
local heritage
Now you
and
had
customs.
you had to go through customs before you
Oh yeah.
put the boat on the dock.
Well, you can hit the dock, but you can't do anything. The captain can come off the vessel to interact with customs, but and before that
You're
happens,
waiting there for
you're
them.
waiting. Yeah, you are in quarantine.
Yeah.
So, that's an interesting dichotomy. When you're going into a foreign country and you don't speak the language very well, it's important to have those contacts in place before you undertake a journey like that. So the local contacts in those communities the relationships, the bonds that you can form ahead of time or through other people that may have been there or fished there in the past and can give you recommendations for
Sure.
certain people they can trust. That's very
Yeah.
important, as you know. So
Especially going somewhere else like
that's
that.
exactly right. Where there's a language barrier, I can comprehend a little bit, but
I'll probably get in trouble more than I could anything else with it.
It's easy to do that.
So sailfish was the target.
So, it
You
was
were
really
there a
billfish
month?
in general. Yeah, billfish in general. Yes. sir,
What'd
yeah.
you catch?
Everything, man. Everything we went after. It was white
Blue
marlin,
marlin,
blue
white
marlin, sailfish, giant blackfin tuna, the biggest bonita you'll ever see in your life anywhere. I don't care what anybody
Water
says.
looked
Huge.
different than anything
It was as
around
blue
here?
as your wall. It was gorgeous.
Right.
So, we did have a lot of prevailing easterly winds when we were there, so it made it, fishing was, you're fishing in rollers all day, every day. You're in 6-foot rollers all day. The chop on top of it's not bad, but, it makes, that
It's
time
nice
of
to
the
be in
year.
a big boat.
It is, yeah, it is. And even a 42 seems pretty small when you're in that kind of an
for
ocean.
sure.
So.
But it gets spread out pretty quick in that deep water.
It does,
and it's,
yeah. It's,
you
manageable.
You
It's
go
manageable.
with it, you go against it, whatever.
That's
I
right.
try, you try not to hit the trough there because it's hard to stand up.
That
The
can
wider
be a
the
little
boat,
rough.
it's going to pitch you. But y'all really set them on fire, and you were there a full month.
Yes,
huh?
sir. Yeah. And we try to, when you make a commitment to go someplace like that, you've really got to, to really take it all in, get used to, what the environment that you're fishing in, because it's different every time you go and every place you go.
Right.
So, getting dialed in to be able to share that,
So you kind of went all over into Mexico, or you
we
just
did,
went to
yeah.
that one area?
Yeah. Well, we based ourselves out of Isla Mujeres. That was where our base of operations were, Sailfish Marina Pez Vela.
Right.
In Isla Mujeres, and it's a good place to entertain folks. Very secure town, good fishing year round. It's got infrastructure, as far as fuel and supplies and things like that, to be able to go and entertain, groups
have
of
what
people.
you need.
Right, exactly, and then be able to go to different locations from there, is kind of the goal. And we were able to go to some remote reefs and outlying areas that you wouldn't normally fish, because we can cover that ground rather quickly, comparatively speaking to sport fish and the local
Older
population.
boats too, they're
Right.
not the fastest. And a lot of times when you get to areas like that, I know Venice is this way. I fish over there, and let's say you run 70 miles to Thunder Horse, and they'll look at you like you're
Great
crazy.
Great
What
grade.
are you doing running 70 miles? We're like, we run 100 out of Tampa as a minimum.
Right, yeah, especially
And-
just grouper fishing.
But they can catch them closer. The locals sometimes a little bit smarter. We're all anxious to be there and just catch everything in the world, and it doesn't bother me to break out 100, 125 real, with a decent center console.
Absolutely.
Even at 36 or 38 miles an hour,
You're covering plenty of ground to justify the
That's
trip.
right.
As
3
long as you
hour
have
run.
the weather. Exactly. As long as you've got the weather, to be in the crew. Obviously, crew's a big part of it.
Oh, yeah.
So, as long as you've got the people that are willing, even though they might not be feeling good or whatever, if they're in it for the team, if they're there for the brand, they're going to ride it out.
That's right.
Puking in a trash bag in a corner, we ain't turning around for you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's
That's
really
right.
miserable, but.
What? Tell us about the trip back.
Well, it was a
Little bumpy?
It was a little bumpier. Yeah.
Did you not maybe predict the weather right? or
Well,
did something
no, I would say that.
What
it
time
was,
of year was it?
It was April and May.
Coming home in
yes,
May.
Sir. Yeah. So I think that let's just say this: it was time for us to come home.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had some interactions there in the local community that.
Didn't work out. Some
Well,
poor decisions.
I would just say that our time there was up. It was time for us to come on home. So, we like to be able to have a good time and be able to to show everybody the experience that they want to have when they come there, and respect the local community and traditions too. So when we feel like our impact is being felt maybe more than we would like it to be, or it's going in a different direction,
Time to go.
Time to pull up anchor.
Yeah.
So
So it
we
really didn't matter about what the weather
well,
was.
we
It
kind
was
of packed
time to go.
our stuff and left at about 3:00 in the morning. So
Where'd they go? Oh, I don't know. I see some prop wash out there, but that's about it.
So
Now you know why he's one of my buddies, okay? But
we're not
came,
quite past the statute of limitations on that one yet. So
came back across 6 to 8
yeah, it was about right. So that slows us down
C's.
quite a bit.
in the 20s probably.
Yeah, it was solid, but it was it was quartering on our bow. So when we got to Cuba,
And
we
those
had
boats
we
are
had a lead.
unbelievable.
They really are. They handle seas
God, I've been in-
tremendously.
This year I
so-
got to fish quite a bit, 9-10 days in a row, out of a 39, and what a beautiful boat. And you
Great
think,
platform. Wiley builds an incredible boat.
yeah,
It really does.
and runs. 3 or 4 motors. You want to be the 70-mile-an-hour boat, you can stick 4. The guy I rode with had 3 300s on a 39, and it performed as good as any boat.
Listen, I mean, being the fastest guy at the dock doesn't always equate to being at the top of the scales at the end of the day.
I like that
so,
range.
yeah, that's
option.
honestly, that's what it's all about. When the last 3 42s that we built have all been about the objective. You know, it's not about being the fastest. It's not about being the
Yeah.
best at bill fishing. It's
Most
not about
practical.
the most practical. You know, and it's
Serve
oh,
your
man,
purpose, right?
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's a full tower boat. You know, you might have a hard time selling it. Oh, no, we didn't. But with that being said, it's practical for us. You know, are we going to take it down to the Keys and go lobstering with it? Yeah. Are we going to take it to the Bahamas and go bill fishing? Absolutely. Are we going to go across the Gulf of Mexico? Absolutely. You know,
That
so,
trip you'll be doing again, you think?
and we will. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think, you know, and even, you know, we went to Cat Island the year before that in the Bahamas and
Cut through the lake?
We
or-
did, yeah. We went through the ditch and came over that way, but it's still, you know, 600 and change trip, you know, 600 and change miles, you know,
Right.
from St. Pete to Cat Island. So, you know, for us, it's like I said, it's more about the adventure. Last year it was Louisiana. You know, we went from here and fished Louisiana for almost a month. Got run out by 2 hurricanes and
Yeah.
almost stranded in the middle of the Gulf of Mexico. You know, so
I just know a guy who came back Sunday, buddy of mine, Todd. He just came back. It was beautiful weather. Put the hammer down. I think he said 350 miles in 7.5 hours.
that's getting it. That's
Yeah.
burning some fuel.
He said he come through and it was just beautiful and it worked
Mhm.
out for him. They went over there and kind of had that, you know. Did y'all go straight across?
Straight
or,
across.
Yeah. He was heading straight across the week before. He's in a kingfish tournament. And the weather was pretty bad at the mouth of the river there, and it was a big storm. So he went out. I think he went to Pensacola, and then next
Mhm.
day shot over there. But it was tuna's a little bit different there this year. Not quite as many. Not that they're not there, but there's so many people that jump on top of them. So
Sometimes it pays to do what you were talking about and go a little bit further
Go a
than
little bit
everybody
further.
else is willing to go.
or get there earlier. That
That's
was
exactly
your
right.
your choice.
But you're kind of stranded by the bait. You know, the
Yeah.
bait's there. You know, especially when you go out,
Well,
you
you
know,
can't-
Tiger Pass and stuff like that.
you can't
know?
keep bait.
Right, exactly. You,
know,
can't keep bait
you'll
in
run
the
up in the
river.
river.
Right.
So you got to catch.
Every morning. You know.
Horn bellies,
Oh yeah.
pumpkin seeds.
Mm-hmm.
Here in Tampa Bay, I've snook fished all my life. I throw a cast net, you get a pumpkin seed or a skipjack. It's like, get him out of here.
Right.
We're catching 100-pound yellowfin up
That's
there.
exactly right.
We had a great year up there. We caught swordfish, blue marlin, snapper, mangoes up to 12
It's an
pounds.
incredible estuary, man.
Yeah,
One of the most
love it up
incredible
there.
that I've ever been a part of. And you go the mouth of that river, and you could throw your cast net and catch giant shrimp,
Oh, yeah.
and catch whitebait, and catch mullet, and catch shad, and catch crabs, and everything else in one throw with a
Yeah.
cast net. I mean, that
I've
shows
caught
you the kind of
redfish.
estuary that it is.
And bass in the same hole.
Incredible.
Redfish and bass. The ballets, I fished up there with them for many years.
Mhm.
Brent and Brandon, and great guys. I think it was last year we were up a bunch of lily pads, and he said, let's finish the limit up, which the limit's, I think, somewhere around 1,000, because you catch fish as long as you want to catch fish. The captain keeps the fish. The neighbor keeps the fish. You can count
Support
the
the
neighbor's
local
fish.
community.
And she's not even on the boat.
Right.
You know, they have some special laws up there.
It's something like that in the Bahamas too.
So what you got coming up for fishing? Anything? Or
Yeah, well, I mean, as you guys are going to fish a Loop tournament as well, we're going to be right there beside you.
Oh.
In the 42.
Holy
So,
cow!
I don't know if
Wonder if
you're-
we can tie up and eat a cheeseburger. You think?
I think we'd be all right with that, as long as
Yeah.
it's a little bit later in the tournament.
Man,
and
I'll
we'll get
tell
our
you
secret hole.
One thing about a center console in one of those tournaments, that's those
It's a
are a bunch
dedicated
of,
crew.
That's a bunch of tough guys.
It's a
I
dedicated
mean, you're
crew.
talking 3.5 days, and we ran through 50-mile-an-hour winds last year coming
yeah.
in. We went from a 8-hour or something ride in where we were just chugging in to 12 hours.
And that has determined tournaments in the
Yeah,
past.
that's
I
right.
mean, weather variations and breakdowns. I mean, when you're 150, 170 miles from shoreline, I don't care how much preventive maintenance you do. Something always
Oh,
happens.
it's breaking. That's
I
what's
mean-
great about Mahoney. Saltwater's our best
That's
friend.
exactly right.
Something's breaking
It's
every
job
time.
security. It's
And
job
you know
security.
I tell people all the time. I said you may have something break that you don't really care about, but the next time you go out and you break something, now you got 2 things to fix. And if you wait again, it's going to be again. But fishermen are there's nothing. And there's no boat. We talk about yellowfin. Yellowfin's a great boat. Contender's a great boat. Viking's a great boat. I've seen them all break.
Every one
I've
of
seen
them.
hinges
I don't
and
care how
doors
much
and
money you spend on them.
screws back out. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
It
going to happen.
happens. Absolutely. It's not about what's broken. It's about what's broken that is critical to our performance.
That's right.
You know,
And
because there's always things broken. I don't care if it's $100 million rig or if it's a $10,000 rig. You
boats
know,
are. That's like I said. That's why I'm in the business. But
Yes, sir.
they don't take it easy on me either.
No, I know they
You know,
don't. But
they-
you're blessed to be an ambassador. You know, I mean, for a lot of different organizations and for a lot of different people to come
Sure.
together. You know, I mean, there's more variety of people that come through the doors of this establishment than I could say that in most variety in Tampa.
Unreal.
You know,
all walks of life.
Exactly.
Great people.
You know, and you never meet somebody coming through that door that you don't want to be friends with. You know,
Right.
I mean, it's almost like, you know, that this place draws people of the same likeness together. You
Sure.
know,
And I've always
it's-
said it.
And it's not the building, man.
No.
It's you guys. It's the family. It's the philosophy of all
Well,
the employees here. I mean,
It's a customer.
It's a family.
Yeah.
You know, it's a family environment. When you walk through the door here, you're welcome. You know, and it's
People give you a hard time if
oh,
we
of
know
course.
you.
Yeah, of
That's-
course. You would
and
expect that.
You know how many smiles come through that door when you just kind of pop off to somebody, your dad, or
Yes.
you know, your dad comes walking in, and before he has a chance to tell me he's done torn something up, and if I don't fix it, it's the end of the world. You know, I'll say something to him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, dying calf in a hailstorm. What's up, Dave Marquette? And he'll just look and start laughing and smiling, and just good people, man. And that's what
This place brings a lot of joy, man. It really does
Yeah.
to a lot of different people, you know, and you know, especially being such an ambassador for that through your employees, through the relationships that you create with the you know, every customer that comes through this door.
Sure.
I mean, it's
I try to
it's
give back.
impressive, man.
You
It
know what I
really
mean?
is. I mean, I'm impressed with what you've done with the gift that the Lord has provided with you, man.
Absolutely.
And I'm proud to be a part of this team.
Well, I
So,
appreciate that. That's exactly where it comes from. It's a blessing. It's given back. It was given to me, and if I don't do something with it, it's going to be taken away from
absolutely.
me. So, you know, I'm thankful every day. You know, I'm thankful that you know, it's like this industry. A lot of people, and it's like yourself too. You're not a fishing guide. You're not necessarily following in your dad's footsteps. I think you realize that ain't the easiest thing to do and the most rewarding.
Correct.
You may get to do what you want, but it's not this big money job. I
Right,
mean,
that's exactly right.
300
you work hard.
days
I mean, my dad's 72 years old
And still catching bait.
still throwing a 12-foot cast net at the Pass Grill Sea Buoy
And you-
every morning
before daylight.
before the first guy gets
And
there.
you want to know something? He'll put that on his social media,
Yeah,
and he'll call you out.
that's exactly right.
I'm 70-something years old. I'm the only truck at the ramp, and I'm gonna tear the fish up
That's
today.
right.
And he will.
Yeah,
He's the one
he
that
makes you
taught
stay
me.
on your toes, man.
When you go into a no motor zone, okay, if
Oh,
you
boy.
if you can go into a no, he taught me this. If you can go into a no motor
This
zone,
is through several interactions with the FWC, I will add.
yeah, he'll show you in the law book. As long as you turn your motor off before you go past that sign, you're good. So if you're running 70 and you're even with the sign and you flip your power off and you coast 1.5 miles to the best snook hole behind Shell Key, so be it. Getting out? I'm not getting out.
Right. We're going to be here until the high tide
Yeah, I'm
comes.
not getting out. I'm going to float out with the wind, he'd tell them.
Ask me how my porta bracket got bent on the back of the Aquasport. Very similar situation inside.
And you know what?
Cherokee.
If you're going to catch fish, if you're going to be angler of the year, like Dave
That's exactly
Marquette's
right.
been down there in Boca Grande and tore those tarpon up, led the pack many a years. If you're going to do that, you're fishing the gray area. I'm
That's
sorry.
exactly
I've seen it. I've been in it. I've been involved in it. I ain't saying to cheat. You ain't cheating. You shut your motor off. The combustible motor ain't working. I used to have a trolling motor on the front with no motor at the bottom. When they first come out with 4 strokes, you couldn't even hear them, right?
Right.
Everybody's got 2 strokes. They're loud, whiny, all that kind of stuff. I had a shaft and a trolling motor head mounted on the front, and I'd just idle in and act like I was using the trolling motor. Work. Nobody
I
ever.
don't know if I've ever done that before. I don't remember.
Yeah, tell us maybe one you have done that you know. There's got to be some funny stuff. Let's hear one.
Man, I tell you what, you know, we've had a lot of incredible experiences over the years, and you know, I've been so fortunate to be involved with so many different people that have helped me along the way, and guys that have, come in and been a part of our operation. And there's so many experiences that we've shared, so many that we can't talk about.
You ever dust the FWC? Just blow them away. Know you're on a flat that they can't.
Well,
and this is all entertainment. We're just making up stories.
So hypothetically speaking, you still can't outrun the radio,
Well,
yeah. I have attempted in the years, and some have been more successful than others to evade the folks that were maybe trying to get a little too close, And you don't know what their intentions are. They're a long ways away. I don't know if that's somebody that's coming to rob me. I don't know if that's somebody that's coming to hurt the people I got on board my boat. Right, listen, time for me to go.
Mind your own business.
Time for me to go. I didn't see no lights. I never looked back,
And that's the key. I was with Judge Tharp. He was, my buddy Chet Tharp was on here with me, and this was a long time ago, and I wouldn't do this today, but I dusted him. He had a Boca Grande carbon fiber with some racing XS 250 on the back, and we were over there. What happened was really wasn't my fault. They put new signs in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm not.
Hey, I've been there.
I'm not. You know where I'm talking about?
I've been there.
On the backside of Pine Island.
Oh, I don't know about that spot, but I've been there where they put the new signs in.
Matt Lachey, they put signs
I know right
in.
What are you talking about?
That island. We're coming back. I see signs, but what am I supposed to stop at every sign and read new signs? I mean,
you're going by it at 80, man. I ain't trying to read the little tiny writing on that thing at 80 miles an hour.
Fish cop in front of me pulls the guy in front of me, and I realize he's a fish cop, and I don't want to interfere with their situation, because obviously that guy must have been doing something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So I just cut out across that bar where that island is,
mm-hmm.
and by the time that's
a little gap right there.
Yeah, I made it 3 wide, 72 miles an hour across Charlotte Harbor.
Skipping.
I told my buddy Chad, I said, don't look behind us. And he just grabbed a hold. His eyes were this big with that boat. He had never even run that fast before. We got all the way back to Little Gasparilla. I got out. He's like, what was your hurry? I go, you didn't see the blue lights? And he goes, are you kidding me? I go, yeah, I'm getting out of here. You're in the boat now. I went on into the house, and we still laugh about it. He can't believe I did it. But in Boca Grande, and not that this isn't a big advantage to know, but there's a county change in the middle of the Charlotte Harbor.
Yes, there is.
So if and even though fish cops, and this is all entertainment, even though fish cops
allegedly have jurisdiction, pretty much
in the whole state, right? But they work certain counties. So the middle of the line is through Charlotte Harbor. If you're on the Matt Lachey Pine Island side, that's usually one set of fish cops.
Mm-hmm.
And if you cross the line, well, it just so happened a lawyer friend of mine who we were all down there fishing in a tournament, and we all got to meet this guy.
I noticed
Jason.
that you fish with a lot of lawyers and judges. How did you meet these people? Is that,
right through here.
Oh,
right
okay.
through here. I fish with mullet fish. I fish with tangles. Tangles is like, he looks like he come out from underneath an overpass. He looks worse than me sometimes. I tell you about I was up in Mississippi. We were cutting through to Louisiana this year, and this, you feel like when somebody's looking at you, you kind of know feel it, right? So I'm sitting at a table. My wife's here. I'm sitting at a slot machine, and my wife's next to me, and my buddy's behind me. And this lady's sitting over here, and I feel like she's looking at me, so I look back at her, and she turns away. And nothing really
It's never good.
abnormal, so I feel like she's looking at me again, so I look at her again, and she kind of moves her mouth, and I'm thinking, what? Excuse me? What'd you say? And she goes,
What'd you call me?
She goes, do you have $30? So she's some chicken head, meth head, crack head, whatever you want to call it, trying to hustle me for $30. So I probably answered maybe not exactly like I would if I was in the store.
No, I got 18 though.
No, I sent her on her way quick. She was running. I was looking for security going, come on, man, I'm in here gambling, and you got a crackhead.
My wife here beside me, right?
Yeah, and my buddy's right here. They're all laughing because they saw her response when I said, whatever I said. And it was funny. We were sitting there, and I tell my buddy, he goes, what'd she say? I go, she asked me for $30. He said, you, of all people, you look like you could use $30. He said, you come out from underneath an overpass looking like you do. She's asking for money? Wow.
She must have been in a tough spot, huh?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Things, society, that's what I want you to do. I want you to laugh about these stories. I want to bring people in here. I appreciate you coming out today, Dalen. We had a great talk and a great time, man.
I love you,
Your
brother.
family,
Thank you for having me.
great people.
Thank you.
And everything you've done for this store, I owe you one. The military, what you've done for me and my freedoms, I owe you one. I can tell you that.
You don't owe
You
me
always
nothing,
got
buddy.
a buddy.
We appreciate you helping to pay the bills.
And even though you're my buddy, I still want to beat you in that Luke tournament. So good luck to you, and I appreciate you coming out today.
Appreciate you, buddy. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, man.